Good morning. Today we will see about the structure of eyes. In the structure of eye, what we are going to see today is the walls of eye. In the walls of the eye, first one is the outermost layer. Outermost layer, otherwise it is called the protective layer. It consists of sclera and cornea. Sclera is the posterior side of the eye. It is 5 by 6. It's very tough and opaque layer. And cornea, it is very transparent layer. 1 by 6 that is present, and middle layer is a vascular layer. That's called the uveal path or the nutritive layer, rich in the blood circulation. That's why it is called highly vascular. So posteriorly it is called the choroid, and when the choroid coming in the front and anteriorly triangular body like it is formed, it is called the ciliary body and iris. So the middle layer components are posteriorly choroid, ciliary body and iris. The innermost layer is called the sensory layer, that is called pigmented part and the neuronal part of the layer. So this is called the innermost layer. So we have 3 layers. We'll see what is in detail. So if you see, simply you can draw. The first one is called the protective layer. You could see the protective layer. This protective layer in the front, it is called the cornea, and it is other one, it is called the sclera. Sclera is a tough and opaque layer. Understand? And then the middle layer, the red color layer, it is highly vascular. This vascular layer, it is posteriorly from, it is coming, and then it is rich in the blood supply, it is present, and in the anterior side it's like a triangular structure which is formed, which is called the ciliary body. And then in the front of the ciliary body, small finger like a projection is called, it is called the iris. Understand? So this is called the middle layer. The middle layer lies between the protective layer and the inner layer is the middle layer. It is a high rich in blood supply. In the posterior side, posterior ophthalmic artery is supplying rich in blood supply. So it is lies in between the protective layer and the innermost layer, it is present. So the third and then if you see in the sclera, this part is called the corneoscleral junction. This is called the corneoscleral junction. It is a light sensitive part of the retina. What is retina? Where is retina? So the retina is the innermost layer. The retina is otherwise called, the innermost layer is called the retina. It is in a this one. What is this innermost layer? So it is like a pigmented layer. This palm is called the pigmental. Epithelial pigments are present, and then it's called the neuronal. The green portion of it is called the neuronal layer. The pigmented layer is present throughout this choroid, and it is coming and in the ciliary body, and it is slightly present till the iris. Then you must understand what is called the ora serrata. The ora serrata is the light sensitive part where it is started from. It is like it is a very light sensitive part of the retina. So it is called this one. It lies between the 5 mm of the anterior equator of the eye. So anterior equator, it's like a finger like projection which is present in the eye. This finger like projection, only this one present in the eye, and it's very light, very sensitive part of the area of the retina. This it is present in the corneoscleral junction to here. It is in the anterior equator of the eye which is present. And in the posterior part of the retina, which is called this one, this area is called the optic disc. This pigmented layer epithelium continues till the ciliary body and also in the iris. But in this part, the rods and cones are not present. So this retina is a part of the central nervous system. So we can see through the ophthalmoscope. Through the ophthalmoscope, the nerve can be, see, this is the only nerve which can see through the ophthalmoscope. this optic nerve, which is really developed from the diencephalon, we will see when we are when we are learning about the layers of retina. This optic disc is about the 1.5 mm in it is a pale in color. It is also called the blind spot of the eye. The optic disc also all the neuronal fibers which is passing through this called the optic tract, where the both eyes where they are joining together, where the optic chiasma, that we will see it in next we will see about the innermost layer. Innermost layer of the retina is called the pigmented layer and the neuronal layer. This retina is a very delicate parts. It is rods and cones are present. Nearly 100 million rods are present, and the cones are 5 to 7 million cones are present in the retina. There is a fluid between the anterior and posterior portion. In the anterior, between this, what is this? This is called the lens. In the ciliary body, there is a muscles which is coming. It is called the ciliary muscle. This is a transparent round structure which is called the lens. In the front of the lens and in the anteriorly, there is a fluid which is present. It is called the aqueous humor. And in this posterior side, there is a fluid filled present. Fluid is present. This is called the vitreous humor. So the retina is present between the vitreous humor and the choroid. So choroid, from the choroid also retina is also getting the blood supply. The pigmented part of the retina really helps to prevent the light which is scattered in the back of the eye. The structure of eye. So the structure of eye consists of we are seeing about nearly the walls of the eye. First layer is called the protective layer, and this one is called the nutritive layer and the neuronal layer. So the protective layer is called the sclera and the cornea. The posterior part is called the sclera. It is a very tough and opaque layer, and the sclera is a very transparent layer. And the light which is passes from the cornea and it passes through the aqueous humor, and it passes through the lens and crossing this area, and it is reaching the optic disc. Understand? And will be the in this fluid which is present is called the aqueous humor, and this was a projected portion is called the ciliary body. And the innermost layer is a two layer, that is a pigmented layer and the neuronal layer. So this is a epithelial pigmented layer, and this is a neuronal layer rich in rods and cones. This is a corneoscleral junction where there is a ora serrata, which is a high light sensitive area of the retina, where this is a ora serrata, and this behind here it is the fluid which is present in the posterior part of the eye. It is called the vitreous humor. So the retina which is present between the vitreous humor and in the choroid. There are different layers of the retina that we will see detailedly in the next class. And this posterior part, this area is called the optic disc. And then where this is a neuronal fibers which is passing through this one, this is called the optic tract. And this one is called ophthalmic artery. There are many branches of ophthalmic artery, short and long posterior ciliary arteries, which is supplying the various parts of the eye. Okay, let us simply little bit we will draw about what are all the layers we can draw simply, so that you can follow. This is the outermost layer. Understand? So this area is called the corneoscleral junction. Understand? So you can draw always a symbol diagram. You can draw, so that with the diagram you can write the second layer or the middle layer, which is called the choroid. In the front, in the triangular area, which is called the ciliary body. This is very highly vascular. So this is why it is called the vascular, otherwise it is called the uveal path. is a highly vascular layer rich in the blood supply. The final layer will be called the pigmented layer. So what is this one called? Pigmented epithelium is present in the pigmented layer. So in this pigmented layer which is attached with the choroid, and this one another one layer is called the neuronal layer. This pigmented layer also extend from the ciliary body to the iris, but there is no rods and cones are present in this area. This is called the neuronal layer of this one. So this is the neuronal layer. The light passes and this various crosses layer and mechanical wave, electrical this one, and converted into action potential and convert these energies and to the optic disc. So the neuronal layers which is passing through the optic disc, and this is the area is called the optic disc. And this sclero anterior side, this like corneoscleral junction, that is a finger like projection which is present in the anterior equator of the eye, is called the ora serrata, highlight sensitive part of the eye. So this is a light sensitive part of the eye, and there are some fluids which is present in the anterior side, and there is some muscles which is extended from the ciliary body over here, and this is called ciliary muscles, and this is a round structure is called the lens. So there is some fluid which is present in the posterior part of the eye is called the vitreous humor. So we are not learning like a doctor's level. At least the nursing students, either you are a BSc or the GNM, just draw the structure of the eye in a very simple manner, in a very simple English you can explain it. And you can draw, there is ophthalmic artery, all the artery branches of ophthalmic artery, the long and short, and this, since it is supplying to the choroid, it is called the posterior ophthalmic artery. You can mark it. So you can very well mark what is this, what is the fluid which is present, what is this called iris, what is this called lens, it is the ora serrata, it is the junction, and this is a protective layer, and it is called choroid. What is this called? This portion is called ciliary body, right or not? And then is a pigmented layer. What is this pigmented epithelium? This called, both are called the neuronal layer. Then if you can cut this portion also, you can show in a clear way. This is a sclera, and you can draw the like choroid is there, isn't it? And will be the pigmented layer is present, pigmented epithelium. This is the pigmented epithelium, and there is a neuronal layer where the rods and cones are present. So if you see this is the cut section, you can see this is the cut section of this portion. So whenever they are asking for the 5-mark question, you just draw the simple structure of this eye, and you can clearly explain what is it in a very simple manner, and you mark the parts, and each heading you can write it and just explain few points, and what is the blood supply, like that you can write it, so that it will be, you will get only structure of eye out of 5, you can very well get the 5 mark. If they are asking you about the retina, we'll see in the next class what is the retina, introduction about retina, what all the layers are there, how the retina is passing, this from where to where it is passing, all these things we will see in the next class.